Technical Group Deputy Ruth Coppinger.
Thank you, Ceann Comhairle. Minister, would you agree your government's record on housing over 100 days has been an unmitigated disaster? 15,376 people in emergency accommodation, housing completions down by 6.7%, social and affordable targets down by 18%, figures that you, by the way, knew about before the election and haven't yet explained why you stayed quiet about them. And then to top it all off, search parties are having to be sent out for the Housing Minister because nobody has a clue who he is. Before he even took up his post, he announced he needed a housing czar. And what this is bringing back is the golden circle hangover and headaches of Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael from past eras. Now, Brendan McDonagh, the favoured candidate, was to be hired on a salary of $430,000. He's to go back to his other state job on the same one unless you take action. And the ditch revealed that Mr McDonagh had bought a house in Cabra under the name of Brendan McDonagh in September 2014, but had used two aliases on the same property. And if someone has a love of the Irish language, they normally use those aliases and names in other forums, not just in relation to property, by the way. So PB McDonagh registered the property. Padraig McDonagh sought 5 planning permissions on the property. And I'm just wondering what due diligence the government did about the candidate. Why would somebody use 2 different aliases, Minister? Do you know? And how would a house in Cabra command a rental of €10,226 a week? It's not the Riviera. So there's so many questions that need to be investigated about this. Are you aware of any other properties Brendan McDonagh may have registered in another name? Is this a case of somebody in the property sector who's gaming the system because they're in the know? And will the government investigate this now that Mr McDonagh is moving back to another state job? Now, Minister, why do we need a so-called housing czar on a salary 10 times the average wage of a teacher or nurse who can't afford a house? It's crystal clear what needs to be done. There are state lands and there's money in the state coffers. In your constituency, Fingal Council has a huge land bank at Scribbletown, Elm Green, Dunsink, of 247 acres. They've asked for $200 million from the government. All you need to do as Minister for Public Expenditure is to write a cheque. You don't need a housing czar to do that for you. That site could provide 7,000 houses, according to the council at a council meeting in October last that your councillors were present at. It's a strategic land bank for the county of Dublin and for Dublin West, your constituency, where so many are suffering. Will you fund that land bank, and do we need a czar for that?
Just before.
Well, with regard to the issues raised about the favoured candidate for the post, the question was, will you investigate these issues, even if you don't want to answer them right now? With regard to the other issues, so you do not need a housing czar to contact Fingal County Council, have a meeting, discuss with them their needs, and then organise the payment of whatever needs to be done. You don't need a housing czar. This is not like it hasn't been done before. Previous Fianna Fáil governments actually did this in harder times, in the 1960s, the 1970s and the 1980s. It's not rocket science. There's no need. What is the role of the Housing Minister if somebody has to be hired in and brought in to be called a czar? In relation to that land bank in Dublin West, which is a strategic land bank for the whole county, there should have been meetings between the Housing Minister and Fingal about that and getting that started straight away. Have those meetings happened?
Minister Chambers.
And if they haven't happened, will you organise that it will happen?
Thank you, Deputy.